Okay, so here we have the assembled Radarcarve that I picked up on eBay, and I have it pretty much set up and ready for a maiden voyage. The point of me buying this was in order to do some duplication of acoustic guitar and electric guitar necks, but predominantly for the acoustic guitars, saved me a lot of work. So what I did was make a hold down table for them. Obviously I made a center line for the table and for the extension, and I settled on specific truss rods that I would use or that I would cut. All of my templates, oddly enough, are older Martin style truss rod slots with an 11 millimeter. So I took an old truss rod and centered it and screwed it to the table with appropriate length to hold it from sliding back and forth. And I put T-bolts underneath all along the way, and you'll see how I utilize those in a moment. But I could put the hold downs anywhere I like them. So let's put a template neck on. Now here, again, this is an older Martin style neck with the and it fits on there fairly snugly, which is good. And I'll line up the heel right there. And then I take my semi-cut neck blank. Trying to do this one hand is a little bit complicated. Let's see. Again, same thing, it fits on there so that it has no side-to-side movement, and line it up on the same line with the back. I think I'm going to have to set this down somewhere in order to demonstrate the hold down. Okay, and what I made were some hold downs that simply made of maple with some 1/4 20 bolts. And the way they're going to work, again, this is all day one. I will certainly get some different nuts for this and use perhaps thumb screws. I think that will work a little bit. And that baby ain't going anywhere. And I will probably put a little piece of cork in the center of these, just so it has a little pad to it. I don't want to dent the neck, although I'll be sanding it again. It shouldn't be a problem. So once I begin to roll, and again, I've already got this pretty much set up as far as height with the router bit, and feels pretty balanced, although I might want to bring this forward just a little bit, put a little more weight on this side. But I should be able to go right across this all the way down to here. I think that I'm going to need a longer ball mill or end mill on the end in order to do the heel, but we shall see. I can still make this pretty much over here, depending on how much this gets in its way. This will be removed, so they might be able to get some distance out of it. But I think I'm going to need something a little bit longer than this mill that they gave me. But I'm glad I have it. so that I can at least give this thing a test run, its maiden voyage. I have this table center lined and screwed to this table. If this works out well, what I'll do is put something permanent here and put a bolt-on system. But this looks like it's going to work initially, and we shall see. Okay, and since it seems that I forgot to turn the video on, we'll have to pick it up again from the new position. I will say that it's a little harder to handle than I originally anticipated. Maybe I'll have to take off a little bit more material before I clamp the system down. But from a shape perspective, looks like it's doing pretty darn good. Let's take off a little bit more and see what it looks like. I was curious how it was going to handle the diamond cuts, and it actually handles it quite well. I'm sure that if I used a tighter ball, maybe a 1/4 inch or even a straight mill, that might work fairly well, but we'll test that out on some scrap. This is a good piece of mahogany. It's looking pretty good. As you can see here, I can get the detail of the heel fairly well. The issue is I got to remove some of this material. Doesn't make sense to try to remove all of that in order to try to make that cut. So if I take this and I cut some of this material off, I'll have a better chance of getting that. The other issue I have, without having it on some kind of a swivel mechanism to do this side is that the blade or the bit isn't long enough to go down without the router hitting. So I think I'm eventually going to rig something up on this table, maybe a platform that these two units will sit on with a permanent clamp between the two. But as far as doing the detail, I think you can see that the hold downs work pretty good. I just got to transfer this thought process over to the swivel unit, and I think I'm going to be able to go around it well enough to be happy with the cut. The ball mill as well, when you get down to here, doesn't do a sharp edge on it, obviously, for obvious reasons. But I think if I were able to pass this by a little bit, that would work fine. So we shall see. Sorry if the real-time video is boring, but I don't think there's any other way to really show how well or not well this particular machine is doing the job. And I think it's so I think working with it back and forth, it's still a heck of a lot shorter time than if I were cutting it and sanding it on a belt sander or using a spoke shave or a file. And the thing that I get is I get the consistency of the curvature that I want. So pretty happy with the unit overall. And it doesn't spew dust everywhere. It's pretty large chips. A little bit on the floor. Most of it's up here. I'll see if I can come up with some kind of vacuum attachment. But pretty happy with the unit.